Dow dropping triple digits as this economic crisis in Turkey intensifies. The Turkish lira plunging against the dollar, hitting some record lows. Joining us on the phone today, live from Turkey, is Reuters bureau chief there, Dominic Evans. Dominic, appreciate your time today on a busy day for you. We've been watching the comments on the wires here, obviously the action in the currencies and in some of these European banks. But what is the mood like on the ground?
Well, the mood from the president has been pretty defiant. He has said, that there are people who are trying to bring down Turkey economically. This is not going to happen. He has said he's appealed to Turks to go out, find gold and hard currency that they may have stored in their homes, and change them into lira to defend the Turkish currency. The one thing he hasn't done, and the one thing the central bank has not done, which investors have been looking to, is for some kind of action to raise interest rates to support the lira.
His defiant rhetoric today, saying, don't get high on your ambitions, you will not be able to make this nation kneel. They have their dollars, we have our Allah. Is that resonating with the populace?
Well, it's important to remember that President Erdogan has a very, strong support base in this country. He won an election just 2 months ago in the first round. There are many people who will support him, who agree when he says that a lot of this is not an economic battle; it's a political battle being waged by critics and enemies of Turkey. So while there is concern about rising prices, there is concern about the impact on people's daily lives, there is still a strong core constituency of his supporters who agree with what he's saying.
Dominic, some might draw some lines and say we see the administration putting pressure on China. We see the administration putting this economic pressure on Russia. Now Turkey. Is it likely to push these countries and their leaders to form different kinds of alliances than they have in the past? Because the responses are often similar, certainly from China, saying, hey, you're not going to force this country, America, to bow to your economic will.
Well, it's really interesting you say that, because Erdogan himself named Iran, Russia and China just a couple of hours ago in one of his speeches, saying that Turkey was building relations and ties with those countries, making progress with those countries, and specifically saying, look, these countries give us alternatives. And one of the patterns of the last 2, 3 or 4 years is that Turkey has been building relations with those countries, drifting away, you might say, from Western alliances, from the European Union and from the United States, its old allies.
Dominic, higher tariffs on Turkish steel, as President Trump suggested this morning. What kind of economic impacts could that have on the country? I ask because I know it is one of the biggest steel makers, and up until this year, they were shipping a lot of that steel into the U.S.
They were initially when the first tariffs were introduced. The steel and aluminium companies in Turkey felt they could probably take that hit. They said their production costs were significantly lower than the United States. So if they were talking about a 10% or even a 20% tariff, they could absorb that. This latest round is potentially much tougher, and there will be consequences.
Finally, Dominic, his call as part of this national battle, as he puts it, for folks to exchange their hard currencies or gold for lira. Is there any sign that you're seeing that's actually happening?
Well, if it is, it's certainly not supporting the lira, which, as you know, tumbled to right down to a record low of 7 against the dollar an hour or two ago. It picked up a little bit, pared some of those losses to 6.4, but it's been a stunning sort of day of extraordinary volatility in the currency markets for Turkey today, and no, it doesn't look like there's been much of an impact from Erdogan's comments.